My Lullaby is better than Be Prepared. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So things have been feeling very Lion King-y for me lately. The first film's 25th anniversary passed, Golden Fox dropped an analysis of said film, which is pretty good and I recommend that you watch it, link in the description. And the live action remake, which I can't wait to see, is less than 2 weeks away. But it's not really live action if all the characters are CGI. Oh my god, no one cares! This recent string of events got me thinking of not just the original 1994 movie, but the franchise as a whole, particularly the music. The Lion King tops my list of favorite Disney films, and while it's not home to my all-time favorite Disney song, That Honor Goes to Mulan, the soundtrack for The Lion King as a whole slaps harder than Huey slapped Granddad.
Granddad, snap out of it!
Ow! Damn it!
In the past few months, there have been conflicting reports regarding whether or not Be Prepared would be in the 2019 remake, but just recently, the track list for the film's soundtrack had been unveiled, showing that Chiwetel Ejiofor, the new voice of Scar, did in fact record a rendition of the song, so either the song actually did make it in, or it got cut and remained a soundtrack exclusive. Still, it got me thinking, if Be Prepared did get cut, I wouldn't consider it much of a loss, and now that the bitchy fans have paused the video to complain about the following things in the comments, allow me to explain why. As I said before, The Lion King has an all-around great soundtrack, so Be Prepared, while a good song on its own, just doesn't compare to the rest of the songs in the film. Scar is my favorite Disney villain for many reasons. His song is not one of them. When we look at every song in the original release of The Lion King, Be Prepared was the most likely to get cut, alongside I Just Can't Wait to Be King, as both songs just reinforce the desires of their respective characters instead of showing us anything new about them. Circle of Life, arguably the most iconic song in the movie. Not the best, not by a long shot, but it's part of the whole opening and sets the tone for the rest of the film. Hakuna Matata, the Let It Go of the 90s, yeah, that ain't going nowhere. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? There is no way they would get Donald Glover and Beyonce as Simba and Nala and not keep that song. That's just a waste of talent. You could argue that Be Prepared sets up Scar's plot to kill Mufasa, but that's only set up in the dialogue after the first chorus. Everything else is just Scar flexing. Now, I say all this to set up the following point. A better version of Be Prepared exists, and it's in The Lion King's first direct-to-video sequel, Simba's Pride. Overall, Scar is a way better villain than Zira, but Zira had the better villain song by a country mile. Remember what I said about how Be Prepared just reinforced Scar's desires instead of introducing anything new? It's time to elaborate on that by comparing how Scar and Zira are set up before their musical numbers and what we learn about them after said numbers end. For Scar, before Be Prepared starts, we already know that he wants the throne, we know he's not fond of Mufasa and isn't above disrespecting him to his face, he's resentful of Simba for taking his place as first in line after Mufasa, and since he's already tried to have Simba killed by this point, we already know that he's not above taking a life to get what he wants. The movie already did a near perfect job of characterizing Scar in every scene prior to his musical number, and because of that, the number itself just feels redundant. For Zira, on the other hand, all we know about her prior to My Lullaby is that she's Kovu's mother, she's got beef with Simba, and she would have murked him if he didn't have the squad backing him up. Gang gang. Zira made her first appearance a bit later in Simba's Pride than Scar made his first appearance in The Lion King. And when we compare the amount of time between first appearance and musical number, Zira has a lot less to work with. Because of this, My Lullaby is used as a tool to establish everything we need to know about Zira. Not just what she wants, but how badly she wants it. She doesn't just want to kill Simba, she fantasizes about it. She says that the thought of killing him soothes her and helps her sleep at night. She goes into explicit detail about what it'll sound like when Simba breathes his last breath, when Kiara squeals in her grasp, and when Nala and the other lionesses mourn his loss. You think I'm exaggerating, but...
The sound of Simba's dying gasp. His daughter squealing in my grasp. His lioness's mournful cry. That's my lullaby.
If that weren't enough, Zira admits that her desires are petty, but she just does not care. Then, towards the end of the song, there's a break where you hear violent drums and lions roaring in the background. Shadows dash over the screen as lightning flashes and Zira continues describing her fantasy of Simba's death. Then the music builds up to a crescendo as Zira bursts through the ceiling for the finale, and a chorus backs her up the same way the hyenas did for Scar, only this time, it leaves me with a much more disturbed feeling, especially when I remember the fact that this song started as a lullaby for a child and quickly descended into a depraved, murderous fantasy once he falls asleep. The entire experience leaves me thinking only one thing: damn, this bitch is crazy. It's one thing for a villain song to be good, but a great villain song will either make you excited to see what the villain is going to do, or fill you with a feeling of fear and dread for the protagonist, depending on what kind of villain you're dealing with. And My Lullaby does exactly that. Be Prepared just doesn't compare to that because, again, the first act of The Lion King did all of the work already. So when I hear about the possibility that Be Prepared might be getting cut from the 2019 version, even as someone that holds the original film in high regard, I have to ask, are we really losing anything that important?
Wow, you really made a whole video just to say that one musical number is better than another, huh?
You're goddamn right I did, and it's not gonna be the only time I do it either. So what did you think of this video? Swarm that comment section below or bug me on social media. Until next time, keep it sketchy, folks.